Hello, Bolt fam, and welcome to another episode of ChargersCast. I'm your host, Kirk Brewer, and ChargersCast is a podcast about everything about the Los Angeles Chargers. It's by fans, for fans. So let's get into it. This is an exciting podcast heading into week one of the 2025 season. Our beloved Chargers will be playing division rival Kansas City Chiefs in week one in Sao Paulo, Brazil on a Friday night of all things. Primetime game, international game, week one. Does it get any better than that? So let's get going. But first, tradition here on ChargersCast is we always have an ice cold beverage. Keep those vocal cords lubricated while we're doing the pod. Just going with good old Steady Eddie Dos Equis Lager this week. And we'll get this thing popped open here. And we'll get the podcast rolling. Nothing like nice tried and true sometimes as well. So what are we going to cover in this week's podcast? Well, we're going to cover week one. And since it's week one, there's not a ton to really go over since the last podcast. There hasn't been really anything remarkable that's been done relative to the 53-man cut down and the roster getting settled in. So we really haven't seen anything there noteworthy to really cover. So what we're going to be chatting about real quick, it's kind of what we're going to be looking for in this game. What are our expectations, and what are we going to be keeping our eye on now that we're heading into the regular season? And then we are going to do our 2025 Chargers schedule win-loss prediction, which should be fun. It's always hard as a Chargers fan to take a step back and have a realistic view of what our chances are in these games, especially before we've even played a game, right? So we don't know. Preseason's not the best barometer of what this team's going to end up being, nor quite frankly is week one or week two, so it's always a challenge being a fan and trying not to produce a fanboy outcome. However, I will say it's season 2 under Coach Harbaugh, Giro, and Mentor, and the roster has, as far as we can tell, has only improved over last season, where they took a 5-11, 5-12 Chargers team under Staley and turned it into an 11-win team. So a lot of high expectations for us Chargers fans. So that's what we'll be covering in this pod. Let's get rolling. All right. This coming Friday, we're recording this on a Tuesday evening. So this coming Friday is week one for the Chargers. Friday night game, international game in Sao Paulo against division rival Kansas City Chiefs. Seriously, does it get any better than this? The only thing that could really be better than this is that if it was a freaking Chiefs home game instead of a Chargers home game, so that we're the ones actually losing a home game, not the Chiefs. That's the only thing that could be even better. Other than maybe instead of being the second game to kick off the 2025 season, because the first game is Thursday night, Cowboys versus Eagles, that also is if we were the first game to kick off the season. But how cool is it that we will be the second game played for the 2025 season, and it's a primetime game, so we're the only teams playing Chargers Chiefs to kick off the season. Pretty cool. It's a big deal. It's the second game. All eyes are going to be on this game in primetime. So This is an opportunity for our Chargers against a division rival in prime time to make a statement of what the 2025 Chargers are going to be. And to make matters even more important, it's a division game. And we all know those games count like they're a game and a half because they're that important relative to making the playoffs. You got to win those division games. You got to win your division. So super excited about week one to get the season kicked off. What are we going to be watching for in this game as we're trying to figure out in these early weeks of the season who the 2025 Los Angeles Chargers are going to be? Well, first and foremost is we need to keep an eye on the interior offensive line. Okay. We all know that Harbaugh wants a physical, downhill running team that is going to dominate in the trenches on both sides of the ball, right? But from an offensive standpoint, we need to keep an eye on that interior line. Yes, we brought in Mekhi Becton, but then we lost Rashawn Slater for the season. And so now Alt's moving over to left tackle, and they're going to slot Trey Pipkins. And you guys know how I feel about that. Just go back and watch the other podcasts, okay? They're going to slot Trey Pipkins in at right tackle, where he has played and not been super successful at, by the way, at right tackle. Now, he does have Mekhi next to him, and we do play, some 2 and sometimes 3 tight end sets with Matlock and Tucker Fisk. And so they can give Trey help over on the right side when it's warranted. But it's that interior line that we know was our weakness last season. And we only upgraded one of those 3 positions. And I would say bringing Pip back over to the right tackle position has created some concern for me. And so we're going to have to see how this plays out. So number one, watch the interior line in particular, but let's also keep an eye on Pip and see if he is the typical turnstile or if when they need to, they give him some help. Also, very interested to see how our defensive line, especially the interior defensive line that's had some makeover but had a really productive preseason, see how they do against the Chiefs' offensive line. The Chiefs have moved a few pieces on their offensive line as well. And then I'm also going to be looking at our running backs. Is Najee going to get some carries? He's on the active roster. He has been cleared for physical contact, and they're saying there is a chance that he will get some carries in this game. I suspect if he does, he hasn't gotten any physical contact all preseason. So that's not necessarily a good thing in the sense that could be cause for potential fumbles because he hasn't been carrying a ball with physical contact at all yet. But I wouldn't be shocked if he gets a few carries to help ease him back in. But I suspect Omarion Hampton is going to be the bell cow in this game, and they will spell him with Haskins. So unless they activate one of our other running backs off the practice squad. So very interested to see how the rotation goes in the backfield with the running backs and how many carries each guy gets. We haven't seen a lot of Omarion in the preseason, and it's going to really be interested to see if they can feed him 15, 17, 20 times, what the results of that are going to be. Really looking forward to that. And then our wide receivers, they've got Ladd on the initial depth chart. They've got Ladd and QJ as wide receiver 1, starting wide receivers, and Keenan as a backup. And so I'm going to be really interested to see how the wide receiver rotation goes. And one of the things I'm looking forward to in particular, because I think it could be exceptionally dynamic for our offense is when Keenan and Ladd are on the field at the same time. Both of these guys are immaculate route runners. Now, Keenan has never been the guy to take a top off of a defense. That was never his game. His game was running exceptional routes and getting open. But Ladd's got both. He can run exceptional routes, and he's got high 4.3 speed where he can take a top off of a defense. So if you can imagine this, if you will, having these two exquisite, exceptional route runners on the field at the same time, I envision that being a nightmare for a defense. Because who are you going to cover? Are you going to, or who are you going to double? Are you going to double both of these guys? Well, either one of these guys, if you're singling them, they're going to get open. They're simply going to be able to get open. So Herbert, just with those two guys, he's going to always be looking for one of the two to be open. So that's what I'm looking forward to as we start the season in week 1 is how is that wide receiver rotation going to go? And how often is Ladd and Keenan on the field at the same time? And then the next tier of guys, the Trey Harris, the QJ, and the KLS. What I've seen out of KLS in particular is this guy's special. He's got some innate receiving capabilities that are unique to him that lend to him maybe developing into a very productive, very special wide receiver. So I want to see how they're, in particular, using KLS in week 1 and how many reps he's getting. And then Trey, I just haven't seen enough out of him in the preseason, but they all rave about his capabilities and is a big guy, physical, great hands. So I want to see where Giro's fitting these guys in. But Keenan and Ladd on the field at the same time, and then how are we utilizing KLS and bringing him along starting with week 1. And then last but not least, we had a pretty productive preseason, and then we were very productive last season on defense, but especially with turnover battle. We were getting quite a few turnovers, especially the first 3 weeks of the preseason. Do we continue that into the regular season? So I'm going to be looking for that in all phases. Technically, we don't want to see that on offense, do we? But on defense and special teams, are we able to get the ball turned over and get it back to our offense? So that's what I'm really going to be looking for. Obviously, I'm going to be watching the whole thing, but in particular, those areas, our interior offensive line, how do they perform? Keep Justin clean. It's one thing to have guys coming around the sides. It's another thing to guys coming up in your face. For QB, the worst is having guys come up right up the middle where you can't step into your balls. And so the interior line, super, super important. Then our RD line going against the Chiefs, O-line. Again, running backs, Najee and Omarion. How's that going to be working out? Does Najee even get any live reps in this game? And if so, how many? Our wide receivers and a turnover battle. So there you have it. That's what I'm looking for heading into week 1. It should be a great game. The division games almost always are very, very competitive for whatever reason. Even when the Chiefs have been dominant these last several years, the Chargers always play the Chiefs very, very competitively. And we always have. Almost all of our division games, they're always competitive, almost regardless of the talent level, with few exceptions. Once in a while, you'll see a blowout, or even if the score's not a blowout, it just never feels close throughout the game. But typically they are. They're close games, and a mistake here or make a mistake there can end up turning the tide. Or in the Chiefs' case, a bad call or a good call by the officiating crew. So we'll keep an eye on all of those things as we watch week 1 of our Chargers rocket on a Friday night. That's going to be so cool. All right. Now, some fun. The 2025 schedule and my win-loss prediction. Now, I am hoping to also have Brennan from Chargers District, get his 2025 win-loss predictions as well. Unfortunately, he couldn't make the podcast again this week. Schedule conflicts. We've all got life responsibilities, but he promised me he was going to record his predictions, and I will get those spliced in to the edited version of the podcast so you can see not just my predictions, but Brennan's as well. I think that should be very interesting, and I'm going to be real interested to see what his predictions are versus mine. That could be fun as well. So let's get into it. Week 1 versus the Chiefs in Brazil on a Friday night of all things. First couple weeks of the season, especially week 1, it's always a wild card. It's always an unknown. As a Chargers fan, I want to say, look, we're going to win, and it's going to start our season off in the right direction with week 1 win, division rival, the team that's won the last 8, 9 AFC West titles, Mahomes and Reed, and we're going to go into Sao Paulo and we're going to take this game. That's what my heart tells me as a fan. However, if I had to, going on past history, if I had to say, just in past history, not knowing what the 2025 Chargers are going to be, if I wasn't a Chargers fan, who's got the better chance of winning this game on the road? It's on the road for both of us, but who's got the better chance of winning this game? It's probably the Chiefs. And while I would love, especially because our first 3 games are all division games, I'd love to start out 3-0, and I hope we do start out 3-0 with all division wins. The reality is, this is one, when I look at the opponent and look at the circumstances and know that it's week 1, I'm going to say we take a loss in week 1. And all of us Chargers fans are going to be disappointed. You're going to get those particular Chargers fans that almost seem like they're Chargers haters, even though they're fans, and they'll be screaming bloody murder. Oh, the season's lost and the whole bit because we lost week 1 against the Chiefs, who are a great team. How many Super Bowls and how many division titles? But it's just week 1, and it's such an unknown, such a wild card. It's almost like you could do a coin toss, right? So I'm going to say we walk out of Sao Paulo with a loss, lick our wounds a little bit. It's going to be a close game, but we take a loss and we start the season 0-1. Come back from Sao Paulo, and we have another primetime game, division game, Monday Night Football at the Raiders. Week 2. We get a long rest between a Friday game all the way through to the next week to a Monday game. So it's almost kind of a mini bye, which will help make up for a little bit of that travel and maybe make up a little bit for losing that home game that's not really a home game. It's the Raiders, and it's Geno Smith. And you're going to hear this twice tonight, but I will never pick the Chargers to lose to Geno Smith. Period. Not going to happen. So the Raiders being the Raiders, it being Geno Smith, it being a primetime game, our guys being a little surly and got a bitter taste in their mouth from letting week 1 slip away. And it could be that close in week 1 that it just feels like it slips away with a last-minute field goal. The Chiefs are notorious for that. We're going to take the win on the road in Las Vegas against the Raiders. All right. Now we head to week 3. That's just a standard Sunday afternoon game. And that is our first real home game in SoFi against the Donkeys. Okay. We swept these guys last season. It's a division game. Division games usually are very competitive, very close. Third year under Sean Payton. You can almost throw out the first year, though, be honest with you. Beginning of the second year for Bo Nix. Personally, I am not buying the hype. I love the fact that they're getting hyped, because if they weren't getting hyped, probably the Chargers are getting hyped. And I don't, in all the years, 40 plus years of me watching the Chargers typically don't perform well when they're getting hyped by all the pundits in the media. The Chargers have better seasons when they're flying under the radar. They're not getting hyped. They're not getting all the interviews and all the media requests. And so they have that underdog mentality to them. But they've got a very talented roster and a very proven coach. Those are the teams that typically do the best for the Chargers. So I'm not buying the Denver hype. Chargers come out of that with another win. So out of the first 3 weeks that are all 3 division games, we end up 2-1 out of those. And I don't care how you split those. If we come out of those first 3 weeks, all 3 division games at 2-1, that is a huge win for the Chargers, period. No matter which one we drop, whether it's any one of those teams. So win at Denver. Moving on to week 4. We are flying all the way across the country to New York to play the New York Giants. I like their coach, but their coach was better, I believe, as a coordinator. And that's the case. And many, many times, just because you're a good coordinator doesn't mean you're a good head coach. Brian Dable, I believe, is a great offensive coordinator. Not necessarily, at least I haven't seen it yet, the best head coach. Doesn't mean he won't grow into that if they're patient and allow him to stick around for longer. But we're talking Russell Wilson as a starting quarterback, Malik Neighbors, who a lot of people thought we were going to take or we should take, versus Joe Walt. I think he's a special receiver. I don't necessarily think Russell Wilson's got that magic that he used to have in Seattle. And I believe those two against Jesse Mentor and our defense, we are going to walk away from that game with a W. So there's another win, week 4 against the New York Giants. And we're going to fly back to SoFi and face another NFC East foe. This time it's going to be the Washington Redskins. Yes, you heard that correct. The Washington Redskins. This is a home game for us. I think this is going to be a very interesting matchup. And I believe that Jesse Minter and our defense are going to confuse a young Jaden Daniels. Is he a good quarterback? It would appear so. I don't believe in anointing somebody after one good season, despite him taking them to the playoffs and winning a playoff game. It's just one season. His body of work in the NFL is still very small, but I do believe he's a good quarterback. But I also believe he's a young quarterback who Jesse Minter and the defense that he puts on the field is going to have Jaden Daniel confused. I believe our offense is going to hold up their end of the bargain as Harbaugh and Giro are getting this physical ground and pound offense going. By this time, we're week 5. If Najee's going to be, splitting these reps with Omarion, then he's going to be in full swing by then, and we're going to be grounding and pounding this thing, playing ball control offense. And if we can confuse Jaden Daniels, get lots of 3 and outs, maybe a pick here or there, there's no reason we do not get the win in that game. And so we walk out of SoFi against the Redskins with another W. Week 6, we fly all the way back again to the East Coast, and not just east, but all the way far southeast to Miami to play the Dolphins. This is one where my instincts as a fan tell me, oh, we are the far superior team, and we're going to go in there, we're going to dominate, and we're going to walk out with a W. But stopping and thinking about this for a little bit, all the travel that we have already had between Sao Paulo and then New York and now to Miami, I believe this game is one of those games, not that Harbaugh would ever let his team, be set up for, one of those trap games. However, I do believe this is a game where we can play 58, 59 minutes of good, solid ball, have kind of back and forth, scoring back and forth, lead changes. And at the end of the day, the home team gets an opportunity to kind of kick that game-winning field goal. This feels like it's that game. And so I'm giving us the unexpected. Out of 17 weeks, 18 weeks, technically 17 games, typically each season there's one game that you go in going, oh no, we should easily win that game, but you don't. And I think week 6 could be that game on the road against the Dolphins. So I say we take a loss. We come back with a razor thin loss in that game from the Dolphins and head into week 7 at home versus the Colts. The Colts, I believe, have a quarterback issue, to say the least. And if I am not mistaken, they have named Flacco as their starting quarterback over Richardson, which is probably a smart move, by the way. But I believe we will get 2 or 3 picks in that game. I believe our defense is going to really start hitting their stride mid-season and really being ball hawks and dominant, and not just winning like we did last year, the points, being the best scoring defense, keeping points off the board. But I believe we're going to get better at stiffening up sooner because of that interior D-line rotation that we have this year. And so I think our offense, the running game, is going to dominate, control the clock. We're going to get a couple picks, which means give the ball back to our offense, keep the opposing offense off the field, and we're going to walk out of that game, home game in SoFi, with another W. We no reason we should walk out of that game with anything but a W. Week 8, home game again, which is nice after all the travel. We've got a little bit of a home stand here against the Vikings. I think the Vikings are a very good team, a team to not take lightly, which in the NFL, can't take any team lightly. But Harbaugh and Mentor know J.J. McCarthy. And I have no reason to think that come week 8, J.J.'s still not the starting quarterback for that team. Something could change, but right now he's supposed to be week 1 starter. And so assuming J.J.'s under center to start week 8 against the Chargers at home in SoFi, I think Harbaugh and Mentor are going to give J.J. fits. They know his strengths. They know his weaknesses. And this is the NFL. And we've got some ballers on defense. And at this point, I think our offense is really going to be hitting its stride with the ground and pound, and then picking the spots where Herbert can, have that balanced passing game. Again, Ladd and Keenan. I mean, how do you cover these guys if they're both on the field at the same time? Which I believe G-Row is going to figure out real quick, that having both of those guys on the field at the same time is insanely difficult for defenses to figure out. So, bottom line, get a win against the Vikings at home. Heading into week 9, we go on the road again, flying all the way, not quite the East Coast, but damn near, to the Tennessee Titans. Not going to spend too much time on this. I think we are the far superior team. Could this be a trap game? Sure, could be. I don't think Harbs will let that become a trap game. Will the rookie quarterback still be starting come week 9? Let's assume he will. And as a Cam Ward. And look, we're going to be executing on both sides of the ball, mid-season form, and we get out of Tennessee with another W. So we're going on a little bit of a run here, a mid-season run, if you haven't picked up on it, right? So fly back to SoFi for another home game. This home game is against Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are always a tough out. Always a tough out. Most of the time, that's because they've got exceptionally staunch defenses, and then they play kind of like we want to play, a tough physical ball control offense. And so it's going to kind of be a test of wills, if you will. But I believe that Rodgers coming into Pittsburgh and their offense has been overhyped as usual. Just look, what happened with the New York Jets. And I'm not going to ever equate Pittsburgh to the New York Jets. The Jets have issues of their own, okay, which we don't have enough time in this pod to discuss. And we're not playing the Jets this season, so we're not going to talk about it. But I believe Rodgers not going to all of a sudden have a rebirth in Pittsburgh. I believe him going to Pittsburgh's been overhyped. They don't have Najee anymore. Najee's with us. And by the way, if I were Najee, I'd be going into this game with a little chip on my shoulder. And I suspect Harbaugh and Giro will feed that chip a little bit. And at the end of the day, while Pittsburgh's always a tough out, and over the years, we've had some really good battles with these guys. Some we've won. I would say maybe slightly majority they've won. But again, we're hitting our stride, mid-season form, and we take the W on this thing. Heading into week 11, it's an away game. If you guys aren't picking up this thing, we're flying our butts all the way to the East Coast again to Jacksonville to play the Jaguars. Okay. We have, by the way, if you guys don't know this already, we have the most travel miles of any team in the NFL this year. And the Rams are the second, okay, being another West Coast team. But we're 37,000 miles or something stupid like that between flying to Brazil and then all of these East Coast away games. And so now we are heading to Jacksonville to play the Jaguars. And this is a revenge game after we collapsed in the playoff game under Staley. They have a new head coach. And I think our guys are going to come to play. And they're going to make a statement. There's still a ton of players that are on this roster that remember that playoff collapse. And they're going to want to right that ship on this game. So watch out. Jaguars, Chargers are coming to town. And I don't even think it's going to be close. I think we're going to make a statement in this game and come out with a W. So mid-season win streak for our Chargers. Looking good. Started out with that loss against Kansas City and a fluky loss in week 6 against the Dolphins. But we kind of hitting our stride mid-season. Heading into week 12, bye week. So now with all this travel, late mid-season, we get a chance to rest up and go into the home stretch, heading into the tail end of the season and getting ourselves punching our ticket for a playoff slot. So week 12, got a bye, which is awesome. Last year, we had this stupid early, like literally the first week bye started we had this early bye, and I don't think it served us very well. So this year we get a little bit later bye, a lot later bye, and I think it will serve us well because of all the travel we've got. Week 13, home game against division rival Raiders. Should be a tough division game. They always are, even though I'd love to see just a flat out blowout of the Raiders by the Bolts. But still, it's the Raiders, and it's still Geno Smith. And while they've got a few weapons on that team, and Max Crosby is Max Crosby, which mad respect for him. At the end of the day, it's Geno Smith. It's the Raiders, and we end up sweeping the Raiders this season, getting a win here in week 13. Another home game, so another mini home stand after all this East Coast travel. Week 14, SoFi Stadium, the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles come to town. Okay, if these guys have any chance of repeating, at this point, they should be hitting mid-season form. They are the defending Super Bowl champions, so respect goes for that. I suspect if we are going to become the team we want to become, we will play these guys tough, straight up. It'll be a close game. It's definitely going to be a really good measuring stick of the 2025 Los Angeles Chargers and where we're at here on the home stretch of our season. And should we, which at this point it would be looking like we're going to punch our ticket into the playoffs, whether it's a division winner or a wild card, this is a good litmus test for the Chargers to see, are we going to have the opportunity to go deep into the playoffs by measuring ourselves against the defending Super Bowl champions. So week 14 against the Eagles, while it's a close game, this is one that will probably, well, not probably, this is one I'm going to tab us with a loss. It's not going to be, 14, 15, 17 point loss. You're talking 3 or 4 point, 5 point loss against the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Week 15, away game against the Chiefs. So we get the rematch in week 15. Division rival, as we know. It's always hard to predict those division games because you can have a bottom dweller and a division leader, and they're still going to play each other close. They know each other so well, and just the importance of those games. Our guys have a bitter taste in their mouth from week 1 in Sao Paulo, and they know, we could be battling for the division championship in this game. At least this game could be the game that determines ultimately at the end of the season who's the division champion and who's not. And I believe our boys are going to come to play. I don't care that it's an Arrowhead. The fact of the matter is, if we're going to go where we need to go in year 2 of Harbaugh with this remade roster and Justin, Khalil, and the whole group, then this is a game we need to take, and we will take it. We are going to hit these guys. Our offense is firing on all cylinders. They aren't going to be able to stop our ground and pound offense. And just when they're committing to the run, Justin and Keenan and Ladd and KLS are going to go over their heads and go deep, and we're going to keep them guessing the whole time. I think we will be able to, at this point in the season, we will be able to out-physical these guys and get the W in Arrowhead against the Chiefs. So give us the win against the Chiefs in week 15. Week 16, we go another away game to Arlington, Texas, to play the Dallas Cowboys. I look at the Cowboys kind of like I look at the Raiders. Perennial mediocre team. I don't really see anything they have done to improve themselves. I'm not a Shanahan or, pardon me, a Schottenheimer hater, but Schottenheimer's an unproven head coach at this point. How do you trade away Micah Parsons? Okay. I think that's going to leave a big hole in their defense from a pass rush and a physicality standpoint. That guy sets the tone for that whole defense. And so, they're, like I said, they're like the Raiders. They're a perennial underachiever. And at this point, the Bolts are on a mission. They know where they want to go. They're playing well. And I think we dominate both sides of the ball. This is a game I don't even think it's a close game. I think we win this game by 14, 17 points. And so we come away from 2 road games, 2 wins. Fly back home, and guess who we play in week 17? I don't know if this could be any better, except maybe week 18. But week 17 is pretty doggone good. We play the Houston Texans on our field. If this isn't a revenge game, I don't know what the heck a revenge game is. Okay, after that embarrassing loss to these guys last year, I think Justin's going to be feeling it, right, with the picks he threw. He threw 3 picks all season. He throws 4 picks in this game. Now, 2 of those weren't his per se, but they go on his stat line. Our interior O-line got pushed around in that game because, let's face it, Houston's got a good coach, especially a good defensive coach in their head coach. Ex-49er, D'Amico Ryans, ex-Texan, ex-Niner too, I believe, but definitely ex-Texan. And so we're going to come to play in this game. It's a home game. It's on our turf. I'm not saying this is going to be a blowout. This is going to be a dogfight. And our interior offensive line is going to have to step up for us to get the W in this game. But I believe they will. And I believe our running game is going to become dominant, which is then going to allow our passing game, especially our play action passing game, to become dominant. And that is going to allow us to overcome and squeak out a win in this game. We're going to win this game 2, 3, 4 points. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be very physical. And each team is going to kind of pay the price here late in the season as they're heading into the playoffs. But we get the W against the Texans. We head into week 18. And this is a pretty good way to finish the season, I think. It's going to be really interesting in week 18 to see where these 2 teams end up in week 18. For whatever reason, the media is hyping up the Donkeys like crazy. And I don't see it. They had a good season, and it was an unexpectedly good season, but so did the Chargers. And I'm just sitting here looking at the hype going into these guys, and I'm like, that's great. You keep hyping those guys up, because I think it's a negative, not a positive, to be hyping them up. So here we meet week 18 in Mile High Stadium. It's an away game for us. I think they're way overhyped. I think we're going to know who these guys are come week 18. And I do not believe for a second that these guys are even remotely close to the team that the media and the pundits are claiming that they're going to be. I just saw something today. Chris Sims is picking the Donkeys to win the AFC West over the Chiefs and the Chargers, which is, I don't know. I guess I could, also win the lottery. But I don't know. I think he's lost all credibility in my eyes picking those guys. You're better off picking the Chiefs, dude, than picking the Donkeys. But he's picking the Donkeys to win the AFC West. So I think we come out of this, we're going to be in our stride heading into the playoffs, both offense and defense. I don't believe the Donkeys are even close to the team they're being hyped up to be. I believe the Chargers are going to be hitting that playoff stride, And with the record that you guys, if you're doing your math and counting on your fingers, if my predictions are remotely close, then we should be winning the division. So you're talking the division winning Chargers against the mediocre Donkeys. I see the Donkeys 8 or 9 win team at best. And so we get the win on the road, Mile High Stadium. We are set up heading into the playoffs. We got a little win streak, a 4-game win streak here to wrap up the regular season and hopefully wrap up the AFC West division heading into the playoffs. So to kind of summarize my predictions here, we end up with a 14-3 record. This is essentially the same record that Harbaugh had in his second season, which was 2011 with the 49ers. His second season with the 49ers, they went 13-3. That's when it was a 16-game season. And that was the season they went to the Super Bowl. So we sweep the Donkeys, sweep the Raiders, split with the Chiefs, even though we have a disappointing week 1 with the Chiefs. We split with the Chiefs, win the AFC West for the first time since 2009. That's my prediction for the 2025 Los Angeles Chargers. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of pot shots out there that's a fanboy prediction, but Harbaugh has a track record, a proven track record. So this isn't just pulling fanboy wins and losses out of my rear end. This is based on some history, and I think it's a fairly realistic. Do each one of these games fall exactly like I think? No, there could be one I say we lost that we win, one I say we lost that we lose. There are always surprises. That's why you play the game. But I don't think we're too far off. I think we've got a great head coach, great coordinators, great position coaches. Our roster's improved from an 11-win team last year. So I don't think it's a far stretch to consider that we could add a few more wins to those 11 and pick up the division for the first time since 2009. So bolt up on that. Those are my predictions.
What's going on, Chargers fans? It's Brendan at Chargers District here, doing a little segment for ChargersCast where I'm going to be predicting the Chargers 2025 season, weeks 1 through 18. Going to be a quick little segment here, so let's just get right into it. I got my schedule for reference in the back. Week 1, we got the Chiefs in Brazil on Friday. I think, actually this Friday while I'm filming it. I think with all the factors, negative and positive, it's week 1, a clean slate. I think we get it done. Every factor that affects them affects us. And I do think with Isaiah Pacheco being suspended for 6 games, that takes a toll on them. I do think we get it done week 1, so that sets us at 1-0 here. Going on to week 2, we got another away game technically. On Monday night, we play the Raiders. All 3, week 1, 2, and 3, it's going to be divisional games, which is going to be pretty hard. With that being said, I do think each divisional team we split games with, the Raiders, Broncos, and Chiefs. With this game, with it being away and going to Las Vegas, it's going to be a quick turnaround for us, even though we got a couple extra days. I do think traveling across another country to Las Vegas is going to take tolls on our body, and I think we do take a loss to a thriving team with Ashton Genty and Geno Smith at the helm of Pete Carroll. So week 2 is a loss, sending us out 1-1. I do think week 3 we get it done. First home game of the season against the Denver Broncos at SoFi. I think we have the Broncos name showed last season. They are a good upcoming team, but I do think we get it done, sending us at 2-1 here. Week 4, I got the Giants, Sunday, September 28th. It's just a regular 10 a.m. game, week 4. Do think we get it done. It's whole new team. They've done a lot to switch it up. I do think there's going to be a little good chemistry there with Russell Wilson and Malik Neighbors, but I do think we're more of an established team, and I think we're going to get it done here. Week 5, I got the Commanders. I think they're going to be a better team than us this year. They are a highly touted team in the NFL as of right now. I think they have a lot going for them. They just re-signed Terry McLaurin. Jaden Daniels, if he doesn't have a sophomore slump, which I don't think he will, is going to keep thriving. So I think that's going to be a loss for us. I just think they're a better team at the moment. And going on to week 6, we got the Miami Dolphins. I don't think they can ever get things together with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Tua. I think they're always, something's going on. Either someone's injured or something's always going on. I do think that's going to be a win for us there. Week 7, I got the Colts. Sunday, October 19th, regular 105 game. I think we're going to win that game. They got Daniel Jones under center. I don't think he's that great of a quarterback. With that being said, I think he's going to be the factor of them losing that game. Week 8, we got the Vikings, Thursday night football game. I do think we get this done. I think J.J. McCarthy's a systematic QB, and even with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, I don't think he's going to be able to perform this year because I think there's a lot of better elite teams, especially in his division and especially our team. Week 9, the Titans. Cam Ward, rookie QB. I always bet against those I always bet with those established teams against rookie QBs. That being said, I think we get it done. Week 10 against the Steelers, Sunday night football game with Aaron Rodgers at the helm for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think we get it done based off the fact that we've been playing the Steelers every year. It's always a back and forth close game. They beat us last year, so I think we get it done this year. Week 11, we play the Jaguars, a regular 10 a.m. game on Sunday. I think we get it done. I don't think the Jaguars have it going for them, and I don't think Travis Hunter's the deciding factor, honestly. I think they got some good skill players going on, but I just don't think they're going to be able to perform against all of these other elite teams. Week 12, we got a bye. Week 13, we play the Raiders again. So I said we're going to be splitting wins with each team in our division. I think it's the hardest division in the NFL. So I think this is going to be a win here. Week 14, I got the Eagles. Monday Night Football. So I think I said I got the Eagles there based off the fact that they're the Super Bowl champions. They got a well-established team, and they know how to play some damn good smash-mouth football. And I think they're going to be able to beat us in a pretty fair amount. But I think we're an elite team that has a chance. Week 15, we got the Chiefs again. I said we're going to switch, or we're going to, go off win and losses with the divisional teams. So I think we lose this game. I think we switch wins and losses with each divisional team. Week 16, we play the Cowboys. I think we get it done. I don't think Dak Prescott and the Cowboys have too much going for them. They lost a lot of good players. Don't think they added too much. Week 17, we got the Texans. I do think the Texans beat us based off the fact that last year's playoffs, and I think C.J. Stroud's going to bounce back from that sophomore slump. If you really think about it, people said he had a sophomore slump, but they made it to the playoffs and beat us, so I think they did pretty damn good, and I think they're only going to get better from there. And then the last game, Week 18, we play the Denver Broncos, which I think is going to be a loss there. I think we're going to sit all of our players based off the fact with what I just said with my predictions. Don't have too many losses there. I think we're going to be able to get it done and be able to skip that game. So that's going to be a loss, and I think we're going to sit our players for that last game there. So overall, I think it's going to be a good season here. I think we're going to be able to do some great things with Justin Herbert and company, and then Jim Harbaugh and the other brass we have in the coaching staff. So I think we're going to have a good season, Chargers fans. I want you guys to get pretty optimistic here. So it's going to be pretty exciting. That's it for me. You're going to tune in onto the next episode, and you'll see me there. So hope you guys like this little segment we tried, and hope to see you guys soon. As always, nobody's got it better than us, and bolt up.
That's it for another episode of ChargersCast. I hope you guys appreciated it. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and talking Chargers. Nothing I would rather do than talk about our Los Angeles Chargers. I will see you guys next week after the week 1 game against the Chiefs in Sao Paulo. We will go over that game, talk about what we saw, see how this team shapes up for week 1, and then talk about week 2 for Monday night against the Raiders. And if any roster moves take place, we will discuss those as well. So that's it, Bolt fans. Appreciate you hanging out with me on another episode of ChargersCast. Bolt up, and we'll catch you next week. Hi, I'm Kirk Brewer, the creator and host of ChargersCast. I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of ChargersCast. We really appreciate you engaging with the podcast. When I created ChargersCast, it was intended to be a podcast about everything Los Angeles Chargers from a fan perspective. It's by fans and for fans. So it's for you, and we really appreciate you being here. If you haven't done so already, please go down below, leave a comment, give us some feedback. We really love to hear from you. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and click the little bell so that you get notifications when new content drops. Again, thank you so much for tuning in to ChargersCast. And who's got it better than us? Nobody.